So about a month ago, I released a video called Rainbow Six is Dead, the Sad Reality of Ubisoft. And in that video, I discussed Ubisoft's treatment of, in my opinion, Ubisoft's top tier franchises, Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, and Splinter Cell. They have been shitting on Tom Clancy's name for what feels like forever, but realistically over a decade at this point. And I didn't think it could get any worse than Rainbow Six Extraction, but I wake up today to find out that Tom Clancy's XDefiant is a game that actually exists. A game that they have described as a realistic FPS with fast-paced firefights meets punk rock mosh pits, being made by Mark Rubin, the same guy behind Call of Duty Ghosts, one of the most forgettable Call of Duties of all time, unless the conversation rolls around to what are your worst Call of Duties that you've ever played. Yeah, that same Mark Rubin. And now he works for Ubisoft, who is proving year after year that they don't give a shit about Tom Clancy and are now performing and throwing it in people's faces as the most aggressive form of grave robbing that I think I've ever seen in my life. If you would have told me when Ghost Recon Wildlands dropped that it would be the best representation of Tom Clancy that we would get in the next, 10 years, I would have said you were lying. But then I see this, and it's just unbelievable. I want to get into everything here. I want to break down the trailer. Let's talk about it. If you guys like the video, leave a like on it and subscribe for more. Let's talk about XDefiant. And I'm not even talking about the game itself. Let's talk about it from the logo, from the Tom Clancy artwork, to why the fuck it's even called XDefiant in the first place. They only called it this because they wanted to put the XD punk rock in the title. XDefiant, just as a name, is god-awful. But then we actually get into the gameplay that we're seeing here. If you were to tell me that this game launched 10 years ago, I'd actually believe you. If you were to tell me that this was a launch title for the PS4, yeah, 100%. The low quality and the muddy textures at work here are just absolutely atrocious. Everything from the weapon animations to the character movement, it's all just so goddamn primitive and bad that I honestly don't understand how this video has any upvotes at all. I never in my wildest dreams thought that Ubisoft could put out a gameplay trailer for an FPS set in a Tom Clancy universe that looked worse than Rainbow Six Extraction. But we're not even 30 days out, and they've already trumped themselves with how bad this looks. And then you hear these guys talk about how this is supposed to be a realistic FPS where their focus is on the gunplay.
The gunplay has to be our top priority.
And we see things like laser beam guns. Just because the gun is jumping around on screen, watch where the bullets are going. Watch how laser beam and lack of actual feeling any of these weapons have. And then the rest of the trailer focuses on shields and turrets that you can lay down and all of this over-the-top Apex Legends shit that we've been seeing for the last decade in gaming thrown into another Tom Clancy IP that has no business being a Tom Clancy IP. And then on top of all of that, they try to tell you that there's these 4 factions in the game. You have the Outcasts and the Cleaners from Division. Guys, you have the Wolves from Ghost Recon. But I think the most egregious thing here is the fact that they had the balls to throw Echelon in there as if, hey, Splinter Cell fan base, here's a gimme. You guys will like this, right? A character that kind of looks like Sam Fisher wearing his night vision goggles. You guys like this, right? The idea, the iteration of this game right from the top of Ubisoft, you can tell that this is a suit telling its employees that Rainbow Six Siege is at the end of its life. It's coming up soon. We need a shooter to take us into the next gen. Well, what's everybody else doing? Oh, I see Valorant over here killing it. Do that. Do Valorant, and you know what? Hold on. We need to put Tom Clancy's name on this, or else it's not going to sell. New IP, look at what happened to Hyperscape. Hyperscape died the day it came out because it was a new IP. We should have called it Tom Clancy's Hyperscape. Let's do it here. And then you have the employees being like, well, how can it relate to Tom Clancy? This idea has nothing to do with, well, hold on, we can just take ideas from other games. So the Wolves, so you remember the Wolves from Breakpoint that nobody gave a fuck about? Throw them in there, let's do it. And then we also have this Division. Well, just take a couple of factions from there and throw them in, but we need to give something to the Splinter Cell crowd. I'm seeing the tweets. Everyone's asking for a Splinter Cell game. We're never going to do it. We're just going to keep stringing them along for the next 20 years in hopes they just forget about it or die off because they're so old. Let's give them a bone. A faction called Echelon, but instead of Sam Fisher, Make it a woman. That way we can check off every single diversity checkbox, make sure everything at Ubisoft is on the up and up, forget the sexual harassment and everything else, make it a woman. The sheer lack of originality with any of these characters is fucking laughable at this point. If you were to tell me this shot here was from Apex Legends or any other fucking AAA shooter in the last 10 years, fucking Outriders, whatever the hell, I'd believe it. It looks like they sat down with the dev team behind Riders Republic. You know that bike game coming out of Ubisoft, I think in September? They look like the same game. Extreme Mountain Dew. Like, it's so fucking cheesy. If Tom Clancy could see a character wearing a gas mask that isn't sealed so that you can see the dreads coming out of it, he'd shit his pants on the spot. And then you see a shot of like fucking overshields and this crazy cloaking device that allows you to get real close and kill people without them even seeing you. And then Mark Rubin has the balls to sit there and say, and we can't stress this enough, we're a shooter first.
Can't stress this hard enough. We are a shooter first.
And the person editing the trailer just thought to cut to somebody who was invisible with like an overshield, another person holding like this weird like digital plasma shield. Shooter, guys. My biggest complaint about how Rainbow Six Siege went down was just how crazy the abilities became. It focused less on the gunplay and more on the operator abilities. It became the hero shooter that I don't think original vanilla Rainbow Six Siege was actually going for. This game is just like, fuck the gunplay, active camos and shields. And to be fair, this isn't Ubisoft's first foray into the free-to-play shooter market. We obviously know what happened with Hyperscape. That game died the day it came out because it was that over-the-top game that I don't think a lot of people were looking for when you can get other games like Apex Legends on the market. This game is appealing to who? Now, I know they're calling this pre-alpha. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I don't think this game is coming out this year. I think they said the first test is going to be happening in August for people on PC in US and Canada, so I'm guessing this game is releasing next year. Well, next year, we're probably going to see a new Call of Duty being announced if it's the rumored Modern Warfare sequel. Rest in peace, Defiant. Or sorry, XDefiant. Defiant would be a much better name. Are they looking to grab the Battlefield crowd that isn't going to be playing Battlefield anymore? I don't think Battlefield players are going to jump to this in droves. Who is this game aimed for? Now, let's double back and talk about the fact that this is Bigfry. This is just a pre-alpha. No wonder the animations look like shit and the game looks like garbage. They're going to polish it up over the next year. I can almost guarantee you that this game isn't going to look much different come launch. They already have the characters decided. They already have the cosmetics being made. This is how this game is going to look visually come launch. This is being made on the Snowdrop engine, which is actually a surprise to me. It's pretty impressive that they made it look this bad. Now, I think a lot of people are excited about the fact that this game is going free to play. Bigfry, it's a nice AAA FPS being made by Ubisoft, set in the Tom Clancy universe, and it's gonna be free to play. This game is the definition of you get what you pay for. My name is Bigfry. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment down below because I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about XDefiant and everything that's coming out recently from the Ubisoft camp. All I want to end this video on is saying rest in peace to Tom Clancy because your legacy has been absolutely shattered by Ubisoft.